Driving on the flat mountain road, the van arrived at the heart of the valley. Walter parked the van and yelled, "All right, we can hang out here since the area has the best view." "Yay!" Noah rushed out of the van first. Grandma shook her head and smiled. Then she got out of the van with Sophie's assistance. Taking back his nature essence, Jacob patted his knees and also got out of the van to look around. The location was about 30 miles away from the ocean. It was unexploited, and it was heaven for wild adventurers and paradise for scientists who researched the natural environment. Not many people knew about this place. Walter only knew about it because of the nature of his job. There were wildflowers and weeds everywhere on the roadside. Hundreds of butterflies danced as soon as Sophie rushed towards a cluster of flowers. This area had the most beautiful scenery. It was called Butterfly Valley, and various types of butterflies gathered there. "Swallowtail butterfly," Walter suddenly shouted excitedly. The swallowtail butterfly was the biggest kind of butterfly in the United Kingdom, as well as a famous type worldwide. The swallowtail butterfly stood out incredibly among the group of ordinary butterflies. Its black velvet wings had stunning speckles and were flaring rapidly. Walter was about to go back to the van to get the sweep net, but the swallowtail butterfly had already flown about 3 meters high. There was absolutely no way to catch it. As Walter felt pity for the loss, a shadow passed by him. Out of nowhere, Jacob jumped up high in the air, grabbed the butterfly steadily with 2 of his fingers, and landed in a cluster of flowers firmly. Walter looked at Jacob in extreme shock. If he didn't see Jacob's hand, he would have believed that his son could fly. His focus switched to Jacob's palm again. Even if Jacob was fast enough to catch the butterfly, he's probably damaged its wing already, he thought. "Dad, is this the butterfly you wanted?" Jacob walked up to Walter and showed him the butterfly. Staring at the butterfly that Jacob grabbed, Walter nodded and felt a bit of pity. To not damage the delicate butterflies, a sweep net was necessary when catching them. Even a butterfly caught by one's fingers would likely have its wings damaged. Seeing this precious swallowtail butterfly staying absolutely still, Walter thought the butterfly died from being crushed by Jacob's fingers. Therefore, he grabbed a paper bag and was about to put it in there. However, the butterfly flew away unexpectedly, as he wasn't paying too much attention to it. Walter didn't expect that the butterfly could still fly. Hurriedly, Jacob reached out his hand as fast as a flash and grabbed the butterfly again. Walter saw it clearly this time. Jacob grabbed the butterfly by its wings using 2 of his fingers. There was no doubt that the butterfly's wings would be damaged under such speed and strength. "Put it in the glass jar." Walter took out a jar from the van and said to Jacob. "Okay." Jacob put the butterfly in the glass jar. Walter quickly put the lid back on. At the same time, the butterfly that had been caught twice started to fly up and down energetically in the jar. Walter carefully observed the butterfly through the glass jar and found that its wings were entirely unaffected. What? Walter couldn't believe what he saw. How precise does one's control have to be to catch the butterfly by its wings at such fast speed without hurting it or even making a single scratch? As Walter stared at Jacob in shock, Sophie called out from the cluster of flowers, "Jacob, come here and help me catch the butterfly." "Coming." Jacob smiled and ran towards her. Walter held the glass jar in a daze while looking at Jacob, who was running to Sophie. He took a breath and doubted, "Is this really my son? This yellow one looks so pretty. Ooh, and so does this black one." Sophie's excited voice came from within the cluster of flowers. Sophie looked extraordinarily beautiful in the middle of the flowers. As for Jacob, he had already caught 5 to 6 butterflies for Sophie. Sophie was overly excited. When she reached for the butterflies, Jacob let go, and they just flew away again. "Why did you do that?" Sophie punched Jacob's arm. On the side of the road, Mila went up to Walter, looked at Jacob and Sophie among the flowers, and bumped Walter with her elbows. "Look at them. Don't they look sweet together?" Walter smiled. He was still too lost with what had happened. Purple speckled butterfly. A butterfly with blue speckles and brown wings flew by in front of Walter. Walter was debating whether to catch the butterfly by hand since he didn't have time to get the sweep net. At this moment, Kathy came up slowly. She lifted her hand and stopped the butterfly gently. The butterfly bumped into Kathy's hand as if it didn't notice it. Afterward, it just dropped onto the grass foolishly. Walter picked up the butterfly immediately and put it in the glass jar. A purple speckled butterfly was the ultimate favorite of all the specimen collectors. Walter had been here several times, but always went back with nothing. However, he was extremely excited today since he got 2 precious butterflies in a short time. Beyond excited, he looked at Kathy in amazement. What she did was just slightly lift her hand, and the butterfly hurled itself willingly. How did that happen? Do you need any other butterflies, Mr. Brown? I can help you with that, Kathy said with a relaxed smile. Her life-death notes could control anything between heaven and earth, including the delicate butterflies. What Walter wanted were only 1 or 2 butterflies. He didn't know that Kathy could help him within a second, even if he wanted all the butterflies in the valley. She could make all the butterflies in the valley fall on the ground by simply waving her hand. Obviously, Kathy wouldn't do that, and she didn't want that either. No, thank you. You can hang out with the kids now. I'll go to the valley with Mila. Walter nodded and smiled at Kathy. He was quite confused by Jacob's incredible improvement in his athletic abilities. Even Kathy seemed strange to him. How could Jacob and Kathy become martial arts masters within such a short period? In the valley, butterflies were flying joyfully. Holding the sweep net, Walter went deep into the valley with Mila. Mila had some tubes in her hands as she was going to take some samples of the water here. Standing by the van, Noah put away his PSP and took a deep breath. The essence intensity in the valley was more concentrated compared with the city, which is about 1.2 times more. However, compared to Fifth Heaven, it was still not high enough. Seeing Grandma lying against a big rock and enjoying the sun with her eyes closed, Noah yelled to Jacob and Sophie, "Hey, you two, how about going to Fifth Heaven?" Noah came up with a crazy idea. He wanted to bring Grandma to Fifth Heaven while she slept. The essence intensity was a lot more concentrated there, and any mortal would benefit more from taking a rest in Fifth Heaven for even half an hour than taking any cure-all medicine. It was time to go to Fifth Heaven to prolong lifespan.